Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Ew.
Where are those meeting minutes? So, by the way, we need to set forth on a path to other people being the MC, other people being able to host some of these calls. All right, meeting minutes. All right, am I sharing the meeting minutes right now? I think I am. Good deal. Screen sharing, and it looks like meeting minutes too. Cool. Okay. So, good. Jump into the meeting minutes. Lay down a couple of topics that you might have. Let me know if you've got topics. All right. Welcome, everybody. It's March the 19th, 2021. Let's get it started. If you've got topics, please drop them in. This is the Layer5 community meeting. There are a number of you on the call. And for my part, I don't know if you guys have the similar things happening, but I've got a small kitten in the background that won't stop meowing. And it's killing me. Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of announcements. Got some new folks in the community. Brian Woodward had joined, had a ton of great user-facing questions, some of which we might be able to talk about today. Shruti had joined. Hopefully, would someone mind inviting them to join this particular meeting? Shruti, anyway, which I assume is a female. Is that right? Or a feminine name? Somebody's got to know the answer to that.
Yeah, most probably. It could be a male though, but in rare cases, but yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, well, so those are those announcements. Yeah, if someone could ping Shruti, I think that'd be nice to welcome her in. Other announcements, many of you have expressed your support for Navendu becoming Meshri CLI maintainer. So it's official. Navendu, congrats. You do hard work. Turns out you get asked to do more hard work. So,
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
It's a big step though. That CLI doesn't have, it no longer has a small surface area. It's you and a collection of others here have been growing that. There'll be an entirely new command soon, the pattern command. New support for Kubernetes, contexts are now a thing. I suspect there'll be some uplifting on the perf command as well. The work that Utkarsh has done for patterns will really help with the mesh command. The work that Dhruv has done with SMI conformance will help with the mesh validate command. So there's a lot of work to be done, and that is being done on the CLI. And yeah, it's not easy to get the user experience quite right. Outside of user experience, one of the harder things is all of the potential scenarios that people find themselves in. So Hussein has been working through a number of those. So is the user running it on one operating system versus the next? Are they running it against one Kubernetes type versus the next? There's a lot to be considered behind just one command, which also makes it pretty interesting. So nice. Congrats. Maybe we'll talk about some of that work today. I hope that we do. First up is, and I see all the congratulations in the chat, by the way. So just, yeah. Nivendu, I spared you all the negative feedback, all the negative ones that were placed on your nomination. So just so you know, just
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, Mr. Patel, I think you've got our first topic of the day. You want to take it away?
Yeah. So should I share my screen? Yeah, thanks. So is my screen visible?
Yep.
Okay, so as most of you would be knowing that we are working on a discussion forum based on discourse for Layer5, and the address would be discuss.layer5.io. So we are just setting up and looking around how we would be configuring it to accommodate it on our website on layer5.io. So first of all, I'll just make a run through of a few basic things on themes and components, and then I can also show, if required, that how we can do those, how we can add, post, or a few basic things if required. So first of all, this is landing page, and we'll just move to customer. Basically, here we are having two things. One is themes, and one is the other one is components. So this is the basic theme provided, default theme provided by Discourse, and currently no components are added. So to install a theme, there are three methods. One is the popular ones that are already given listed over here. The other one is from your device. So you need to have a theme file that is any of these formats, which should have all the stylings and stuff. And the third one is the from a Git repository. So let's say if you want to, and this is the same for the components as well. So let's say if you want to add a responsive footer, so we'll just install it, and then we'll add up the component on which this theme. So this is a component, the easy footer one, and we'll add it on our default theme. So this is the default theme, and here we can see the component. So we'll add it on the default theme. Yeah, so that's added currently, and if we reload the site, yeah, so here we can see the basic footer component added to our theme. So now the thing is we can
done. Boom. Good. Next.
So basically we can, so here we'll be finding the list of components that we have added, and we can also work upon which all components. If we have multiple themes, then we can decide what all components to include on what all themes. So there can be different themes having different set of components, and this is the theme settings. So these are the links or all of those available that were available when we saw the footer. So these are the links, and this is written. It's like it's, so this is pretty simple to do, and adding those already made themes is very much easier. And if you don't like it, you can just delete it. So, and again, if you reload the website, it's gone. So now we'll be looking into, so I also looked upon one of the question. I'll just share the doc as well. So this is the design spec for discuss.layer5.io. If anyone's interested to have have their hands on to this project, then it will be, so this will be very much helpful. We are designing it in such a way that some anyone who is newer who is new to discuss can also gain benefits from this. So one of the question was, how is it to reuse layer5.io's plugins, so use the sites footer. So the thing is, if we do have, so we'll have to incorporate the footer as a plugin by including all the dependent files, all the CSS, JavaScript in a single repo or a single directory, and then we have to upload it on our discourse instance. But as far as I have seen a few examples, so mostly what they use, they don't use their websites components, but they use these pre-built components available on different GitHub repos, and they're pretty much near to what we do have on our website. So as this here 4 examples are given, and I also looked apart from these 4 other 2 to 3 examples, and I haven't found that they use the same footer on their website as well as on their discuss forum. So like they try to use the components that are available. Still, I'll look into if so I'll look one by uploading, like converting one of our component into a totally uploadable theme, and upload it, and we'll see how it works for now. So this is all about themes and components. It's just add it, make the changes. Also in themes, there is additional thing, which is the edit CSS HTML. So if you want to edit CSS HTML, we can edit it over here. And apart from this, there are the dark themes, light themes. So all of these are available. So let's see. Okay, so so this is one of the themes that is available. And also a few websites do is they do not end up their so they make their page infinitely longer by not limiting the post, so they do not have to show the footer. This is also seen in few websites. So header is so like most of the components that we are going to use, so here we do have a custom brand header as well, and I already tried, added them, and saw their previews and deleted them. We do have header submenus, and all of these themes and components are like just add it and just change the data, and that's all for us. So another thing apart from themes and components is the plugins. So what all plugins will be requiring to add? So I have I'll just move on to plugins. So I have looked upon the plugins that are available, and so I have listed 5 of them which will be important in the first phase we should have on our discussion forum. That's the calendar plugin, the voting, the sol. I'll just yeah. So these are the standard plugins that are available. So one of them is the anti-spam.
Mr. Patel, we're seeing your theme creator discourse.org screen, not any plugins.
Okay, I'm
there it is.
so sorry. Yeah, I think I by mistake paused the share. So yeah, I so these are the 5 plugins in the doc I have listed down, which will be important for our discussion forum in the initial stages. So they are the calendar. So I'll show it here. First, one of them is the anti-spam to combat spam automatically. The another one is the chat integration. So I think I should also the how it works. So this is a starting post made by Lee. So how we can so let's say I select this and then I do a quote and then I can reply on it. So the chat integration is for to have for having chats or sending messages to different users on discourse itself. It also allows you to send messages, personal messages, which you would be seeing if we add this plugin. Another this is the anti-spam. Then we have the solved, yeah, the solved plugin. So basically if we add the solved plugin, there would be a small checkbox present on all of these topics if we add it on it, and it would be present if you ask, let's say you ask why should we use Meshri. So there would be a checkbox present, and if someone answers the question, and then he or she can, so here there will be an option to check it or make it the answer. So if or he or she answers it, the checkbox would have the tick on it, and this would be treated as the answer for this question. So I think we'll be having questions on discussion forum. So that is a plugin that we'll be using. Another one is calendar. So calendar is I think I have an example as well. Meets. No, I'll just drop a link. So the calendar is for if you can also add events as topics. Sorry, yeah, you can also add events as topics, and also add reminders, and you can have a calendar integration as well. So you can see a calendar and their events would be marked. So let's say if you have an discussion topic named istiocon, so you can add it as an event to the calendar. And yeah, what are the other ones? Yeah, so these are, and one of them is the voting. So you can have a voting for any topic. think, yeah, topic voting for, so these are basically the plugins I've explored, and they can be integrated currently. So I wanted to show so how you can add post or all those things, but I think we can have it later on, after once we configure it, so like people can just go and work it on upon at that time itself. So we will also have a session on how we can add post and all those stuff later on, I guess, right?
You totally. Who's into this, or who's excited to who's intrigued by this effort? Who wants to participate?
I don't want to participate, but I like it. I want, like, it's nice to have it on the site.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I'm intrigued, but I don't want to participate. I let the work to others.
Totally. I get it. Drew was just saying something very similar. He's like, he's basically saying, I really support your idea. I don't want to do the work. He didn't quite say it like that. Anyway, yeah, that makes sense. I'm jazzed by this, that like clearly there's a lot of knobs to turn, things to enable, disable, tweak. A little bit surprisingly to me, and maybe Josh, I'll share for just a moment, just to
Yeah.
just so that you don't have to so you don't have to click a bunch of links, but I was just looking around a little bit as you were covering things. I was just searching for like the best just discourse designs, because there's the difference between themes, plugins, and then maybe just designs that people have done. Maybe they're themes, maybe they're not, but just inspiration. And I don't know, I'd click this first link that came up. This site has a lot of links to different discourse deployments. As you scroll through looking at a number of them, they really don't look very different or very good. They really don't look that much different. And granted, you can only do so much with a forum or what have you. So I don't know that site's the best reference for really good ideas. This definitely is this actually Facebook actually using discourse? That couldn't be the case, is it?
No, so this is you can also embed discourse deployment on your website, so that's a totally different thing.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, just a couple. I was just perusing the first few. Here's one that jumped out. This one jumped out because it had an entirely different background. Looks like they kind of do. It is the case that we want for this to look as much like the rest of Layer5.io as possible. And between the footer and the header, that mostly gets us there. Like if those are consistent. And then the fact that a lot of these styles and things we'll be able to tweak those over time to bring them to be a little bit closer. That will help. It would seem like we would probably start with lesser plugins and enable kind of as we learn and as we go. It would seem that way. The ones that Josh, that you were highlighting, those make sense to me. Some things to explore with the ones that you were looking at is like, hey, the calendar plugin, great. Is it able to, I assume that it is able to subscribe to a calendar feed so that it might auto create topics or auto generate. You don't have to answer if you know these things, great, speak to them. But if you don't, these are just things to look into.
So the thing is like
Can anyone else hear Josh?
Nope, I think his internet went down.
Cool. So he's reconnecting. Yep, I'm excited about it. I think that some of the harder work will be, there'll be some styling, and Austin and Josh are digging in. I expect some of the rest of you might have opinions or might want to jump in and help on various aspects, or might want to take a plug in and dig in. Please do. Alonso, I wouldn't be surprised if some of this might intrigue. If it does, jump in. And by jump in, like it's the Monday websites meetings where this will probably be discussed more and more. Some of the questions for the other plugins are things like, well, hey, does the chat plugin integrate with Slack? Okay, that'd be great if it does. If it doesn't, like, okay, it's sort of, it's another area of discussion for us. I'm not sure if we want to, maybe we want to turn that on. Hey, Josh.
I'm sorry, I just the network issues. Yeah, so I was talking that it gives you something like a shared calendar where you can add events and get all of the members can get reminders or notifications for those events, and you can tag them or integrate them with events and integrate them with post and all.
Beautiful. That's great. I mean, that sounds like a winner plugin. Another plugin is the chat. Like if it integrates with Slack, cool. If it doesn't,
yeah, it integrates with Slack.
Oh, okay. Wait a second. I'm just sorry.
I on in the doc I added the links to all the 5 plugins. If you can open the chat integration plugin.
Because the reason that I was saying wait a second is because if that provides if by connecting this we get provided a persistent history of a given channel or channels, oh wow, that's kind of neat. So what does it do? This chat integration allows sites to configure notifications about you get notifications on new topics and posts. You get a notification in chat, in Slack. Sites can configure what they want to appear in the chat by filtering on the blah, blah, blah. Sites can also configure notifications, first post on. Certain chat providers support / commands. Good. Slack has / commands to manage filters directly from the chat application. So if you want to either as maybe an admin of the channel, like modify what you want to see, maybe some of those / commands would let you as an individual modify what you want to, what you want to subscribe to, subscribe to from topics. Cool. That's helpful. That's great. That's good. It's good. It's good. It's not what I was really excited about the possibility of. If the possibility was the other direction, like when we're having a discussion on Mesh CTL and we end up basically doing a design in the Slack, and then I slap my forehead saying, wow, we should have put that into a Google Doc. Had that been persisted on.
Okay, so like you write a message on Slack and you want to have it as posted on Discourse.
That'd be worth exploring for sure. Or the ability.
I'll look into it.
Even if it was the ability to retroactively tag a message or grab a message or something, send the persist it to create a post from a set of messages.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Okay, then the other plugin. All right. So what time is it? We're halfway through the meeting. Yep. So the voting can be quite useful. The the solution marking, that can be quite useful. That can be very helpful for just resolution. Anti-spam, totally useful, like, like mandatory. Also CAPTCHA. Yep.
So I think the thing what you're talking about Discord is sorry, not Discord, Slack. We have similar one for GitHub as well. Like you can so it basically allows you to have link back on GitHub commits and from Discourse. So it's uh, it would be a Discourse bot and you can just communicate between those two. Like we can link both, like you can share and you can collect data, who is the like all of those things. So how would I explain? So it's, you can link it with GitHub as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's definitely worth exploring. For when people sign up, having a CAPTCHA or the sort of the anti-spam stuff, that'd be helpful. To explore a MailChimp integration, a Google Sheets integration, or in general, also like a Google Docs, like what might be feasible. Maybe a Google Meet, I don't know, or Zoom.
So the best thing I would like to say about Discourse is, like, for users like who are actually creating posts or reading replies or making topics, it's very user friendly for them. So like if you want to add a video in YouTube video, you just paste the link in the chat, in the post, and the video gets integrated, iframed and all.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, what a great way to, like a support forum, or to have support discussions. Hey, can you load the logs? Can you load it? Can you take a video of it? Can you put a screenshot? So assuming that this takes off over time, there becomes some of you here that are focused on assisting around community management. There becomes or if there's lots and lots of activity, there becomes the need for community management there as well, for administrators, managers of either of individual forums, individual topics, and just kind of overall. So what if someone's being abusive? What if someone's violating our code of conduct? What if someone's asked a question and they just don't get any answers? Like, how do we give them a decent experience when we first throw up the site? How do we, seed it with some content? Use of some of the plugins, like the calendar one, will be helpful for seeding content. Maybe the GitHub one as well. My hope with, at large, the genesis and the reasoning behind having this is for a bunch of things, and it'll be reflective in some of the topics. It'll be reflected in some of the categories, some of the topic categories. So one is, there's tons of questions about how to run different service meshes and run them well. You can go to the individual service mesh groups and ask there. You can also ask here. The more prominently used that Meshry is, and the more service meshy things that we do here, the more that people have those questions. We're going to go out and put out those patterns. At some point, they're going to become, if they don't become popular, I'll be amazed. So we'll have topics and categories about individual mesh, how they work, how they do. Generally, how do I run, do and use service mesh as well. Topics about supporting Meshry and how it's used and how it interacts in the various functions and features of Meshry. Topics on Get Nighthawk, on topics on service mesh performance, on all the projects that you all do. Probably subtopics dedicated to individual components of Meshry. Maybe topics or categories that are somewhat representative.
I sorry to interrupt, but we won't be having subcategories. We would be having tags. So like there is a third thing which you can add. So like there you cannot add a category under a category, but you can add a tag under a category.
Okay, that makes sense. So like, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see all categories and then you can see all tags.
Gotcha. Yep. So it could be mesh CTL, mesh UI, the individual adapters. Yeah. Some of you might have to take new profile photos. Or you can borrow this guy's, he's got one. Or you can choose to challenge if you want on your profile photo. Cool. I just can't get enough of poking at Husseina. It's just too much fun. Okay, cool. Anybody? Okay, yeah. Navendu was gonna do a demo on Mesh CTL stuff, but he's needs to jump. He's got to go. Abhishek should be joining us shortly to talk about Mesh Operator. But Josh, do we have other? So Josh, people want to get involved. They come to the Monday meetings.
Yeah, they come to the Monday meetings, or they can message me if you want to start exploring right now. I could provide you with resources regarding them.
Oh, nice. If they wanted to get an account on there, just to well, what's the thinking? Is that going to be the permanent?
Yeah, you just yeah, I can. So there are 3 roles: user, moderator, and admin. A moderator can like delete, edit topics, or sorry, delete, edit posts, but not create categories and tags and create categories and tags. Admin can do everything, and users can just put up posts. So this is roughly what is abstractly. This is what we are going to use the definitions. There are 3 roles.
And I guess the thought is probably right now that this particular deployment is a sandbox, and to learn and familiarize, explore plugins, break and make it look ugly, and eventually make it look pretty, get the themes, the plugins, etc., and probably wipe it clean, go do a new deployment. So this one we might be able to make fairly quick work of as compared to Layer5 NG.
Yeah, I think we can just do it in a week or 2, like the complete discuss.layer5.io. Like there's not much, like it's pretty easy comparatively, because we are not going to do more of customized things, but more of already available things. So I guess we can do it real early if possible.
Awesome. Who's got the next topic? Dhruv does. Dhruv has the next topic. Dhruv, you want to highlight a bug on Nginx, which is that it doesn't work.
Sure. Like I was trying to install Nginx in my mesh, and I found out a bug. Basically, the links from where we were getting the binaries to install Nginx mesh CTL, right? I guess they were old, or there was a bug in which we're not able to get the binaries from there. So if someone wants to have a look at it, it might be great. It's a good first PR, I guess.
Nice. You know what? So I actually on this one, thank you for that, Dhruv. That makes a lot of sense. Actually, in this case, this is an odd person out, an odd man out issue in that I've talked to the Nginx team about this. It's going to be a long battle. They are open source retarded, not Nginx. Clearly not. They're open source, 400 million deployments strong. What I mean is F5. which is why F5 acquired Nginx. And I don't mean that, and yes, actually, I do mean that. I mean that in the most like concisely descriptive ways, that there are many, many companies like F5 that really don't. Anyway, you have to sign a EULA, an end user license agreement, in order to get access to those, to run the software, which means that integrating with it in an open way is really crippled. And so we've been talking with that team about working through their long legal process to help us help them get their product into people's hands. Really kind of a weird thing. Thanks for pointing it out, Drew. It's a tough one to fix. It cripples the adapter. If someone does want to try to tackle it or help that team, I'll make introductions to the Nginx service mesh team. And we can try to work through it. There may be some shortcuts in the meantime to do. They may give us a path. Well, yeah, anyway. Drew, any other comments?
I think till the issue is resolved, maybe we can have a log in the adapter itself that you need to install Nginx for yourself.
Yeah, even better. Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Drew, there may be like workarounds or manual instructions. There's absolutely manual instructions that we should be able to provide to facilitate that, to be able to say, you know. And the thing is in our adapter UI, we need to have an area that says that tells people that first, so that they can do the manual setup and then proceed.
Yeah, that also makes sense. So I should probably update the PR.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, actually suggest exactly what you just suggested. That'd be great. I'll give you a couple of names of people to tag on the Nginx SM team, and that way we can just kind of keep on top of their radar. Keep on.
Yeah, sure.
Good for you to get interviewed. Good for them to know your name anyway. Hear of the great Drew. So speaking of great individuals, there's a Ravjot Singh on the call. There is a Mr. Singh. Ravjot, is this your first time on the call?
Yeah, I just joined the community.
Nice. Oh, welcome.
Navendu invited me. He DM'd me in CNCF server, CNCF channel on Slack.
Okay. Oh,
That's
good.
how I got to know about Layer5.
That's awesome. We were just talking about Navendu, and since he's not here, we can do it behind his back, which is great. So Ravjot, thanks for coming. Navendu, actually speaking of him, he just made maintainer status today. People on this call had voted him in, so he's maintaining one of the
Great.
maintaining the Meshery CLI component. Husseina, who's on the call, has also been instrumental in pushing that component forward. So anyway, Ravjot, nice to meet you. You want to just say hi to everybody real quick and sort of say a few words to introduce yourself? So Ravjot, where are you calling in from?
Just wait a second. I'm having some issues with my headphones mic.
Sure. By the way, Abhishek is his mom's a bit ill. He's had to run out, which brings us up to Utkarsh. Utkarsh, it's been a while since you've looked at this area, but what do you we have most of this data. We just need to get it into JSON, right? Or YAML.
Yeah, we have most of the data, but not all of it. So that's, I mean, there were, I don't exactly remember. I think, yeah, basically there were some data points which were missing, and so they are still, so we still need to work on to get into SMB. Other than that, we have a lot of data points that are readily available to us. It's just that we have to import it into JSON.
Okay, good. It becomes a timely topic as we go to potentially donate to projects.
Yeah.
So I need
Actually,
to.
there were a few metrics like CPU consumptions, stuff like that, and that is not something that we actually quite monitor. What so actually those are the data points which were quite critical and yet missing. Missing provides less of data. I mean, a lot of it, and Metric always has access to it. We just need to put it into JSON. But those metrics, like basically the conditions while we were running tests, those things are quite missing. I mean, at least I'm not sure where to get them from.
Okay. Good. I need to schedule a meeting while you guys are giving an update. Okay, good. So you'll engage with Nivendu. It sounds like we'll be able to advance some of that fairly quickly. Some of the rest of it, as you explore it, we will probably advance the SMP spec, I suspect. Nice. And Ravjot, how's your audio?
Yeah, I just removed the headphones. They were doing some problem. I was not able to hear properly. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I'm from India.
Oh, yeah, very good. And then you heard about the community from Nivendu. Fantastic of you to jump in. You're very much welcome. A lot of stuff to potentially be involved in. A lot of different tech floating around, a lot of good people on the call to get to meet and to know, to facilitate them getting acquainted with you. Say a bit more if you would. Are you currently a student or currently
Yeah, I'm a student. I'm a sophomore.
Gotcha. And what has you focused on cloud native things?
I actually recently started learning Golang, so I'm not really that much like experienced with this stuff, but I do know about things like Kubernetes and Docker. Like I've read quite some articles. So yeah, I am familiar with how the stuff like works, but I haven't really been into like much technicality and written a lot of code about Kubernetes and stuff. I just started with Golang.
Totally.
Yeah, I actually did some project, but it was a long time back, like in May. After that, I didn't got much of a chance to focus on Go, so it was like left in between. So I'm starting it again now.
There's a number of resources and a number of Golang introduction and Meshery CTL intros that have been recorded that are out on the newcomers page that Josh will point you to.
Okay, great.
Yeah, good to have you. Also, I would recommend you chatting with Husseina. She ends up focusing on some tech that's probably interesting to you here in the community. So she'll say hi, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Two last topics. So this last one is, we've been talking for a long time about donating service mesh performance and Meshery to the CNCF. It's time. We may as well just rip the Band-Aid off, get it done. I think the SMP, and if anyone disagrees, like, for sure, say something, because this changes. But it in some respects doesn't change anything. We're still gonna be on the same roadmap, same style interaction, same people involved, same things. Hopefully just more supported, hopefully more encouraged like that. Like, for example, Intel will probably heavily engage with SMP. And Ravjot, there's feedback on your, I'm gonna mute you so don't be offended. There's just feedback on your line. But having those in a vendor neutral home will help encourage and assuage concerns from from other tech vendor organizations. You know, so directly Intel was asking me yesterday, hey, why should we use Meshery? Like we're really like S&P, you know, when it goes into the CNCF, we really want to help advance that. You know, but why should we use Meshery as the tool to do all these tests versus just writing our own stuff? It's like, well, I had to take a deep breath because like there were like 20 points that I had to give them as to why. Like, there's a lot of reasons why. Anyway, part of the point was, hey, whose project is this? I'm like, look, you know, it's as open as it can get, man. I don't know. Anyway, so we're part of that is part of the donation will hopefully help encourage others to come join. We're going to donate. I'd rather that we weren't donating them at the same time. I'd rather that we were making something of a marketing splash independently of them. But I think that Meshery straddles the line of what's conventionally made for or been a good fit inside the CNCF, with it going in at the same time as SMP, which is an absolutely great fit for the CNCF. I think that going in at the same time and being closely associated helps for Meshery's consideration. This would be at a sandbox level that we'd be proposing them. Meshery meets all the criteria for incubation level, but I personally don't feel like it's quite there. I'd rather that it was going in at incubation. I think that we would, while we meet all the criteria, while the project meets all the criteria on paper, I think that we'd struggle a little bit to convince in people's minds that it should be at incubation already. So good. If anyone wants to chat on that, catch me in Slack. I've got to switch my focus for a moment. I'm going to let Chinmay take us through the partners page. Chinmay.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Shall I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay. Then is it visible?
Josh, can you take over for me?
Is it visible?
Oh, Josh is not on.
Yes, now visible.
So I was working on refactoring this partners page. This one is the current version. I'm improving it currently. So this one is the current version. I've improved this from as the design is changed. So I was improving it currently. This one is the one since as the new partners get added, one a use contributor has not to add a new HTML structure. He or she can add it accordingly in the data.js, which will render it automatically. So it renders it smoothly and is responsive as well. Hope it's good.
Drew,
Can anyone share
Uh,
your feedback on this?
Nice. All right. Yeah, I'm hoping that some folks who are trying to be leaders in the community will step up and give you some feedback, like Austin and Drew and Vineeth, who've been working on this stuff. Instead, let me switch my focus back and say, Chinmay, did you say that you still have another iteration in flight?
Yes, this one.
Oh, okay. Yep. A lot better. People can read it. No, please do the opacity of like 10%.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm currently working on it.
Oh, cool. Very good. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Very good. Okay. I see now that you're presenting to the community at large and letting them know that you've been iterating on the functionality. Okay, I totally missed it. I mean, it looks like this is awesome. Shubhank was going to do this some time ago. He couldn't get around to it or couldn't quite figure it out, but you have. One thing that isn't quite as obvious to me, I think, as a user, is the read less and read more. I wonder if you might put a little rounded rectangle around it, or maybe, or that might be in light gray or something. Like take a look at one of the recent blog posts, the one from Michael. It'll help inspire you about what I mean in terms of highlighting a URL. I think that would work well here. The transition looks pretty good. It still is a little, do the transition one more time. So you still like, and if, do it a couple more times if you would, go ahead. Yeah, you can see the image, what's going on there.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Hey, there's a lot to consider, but yeah, if you can, it'll help. Thanks so much for doing something that a lot of others don't, which is you just grabbed some content and threw it in there. Great.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it needs to be different content, but we'll
Yes.
get there. We'll work on that.
Sure.
That's my fault. It's great, like the smooth transition of the other elements as well. Very important that people get a sense of where they are currently and where you're taking them to. And it's that type of if you can do the animation a couple more times, that sense of like, yeah, the sliding other elements out of the way, very often overlooked, very important that there's a transition.
Okay. Yes,
When you do reduce the opacity, you'll probably, I think you already know this, but you'll probably end up changing the color of the font back to, dark jungle green or black. Nice. If this is a component, one thing that might be kind of nice to have is and Drew's got some comments, but it is to identify whether or not you want the image in block and centered, or if you'd like the image floating and left or right. Like that might be a nice property to have.
As you say, I'll adjust it accordingly. I was following this design, so I was creating it accordingly.
How dare you? Wait, hold on. Wait. I'm going to mute Drew just because Drew, there was feedback, but how dare you pull up the design and say that you implemented to spec and then use that spec against me and my feedback. That's good job. Wait, go back to the design. Do we seriously have dark green in the design? Oh my goodness. And we even have that ugly dark green behind the
That's
logo.
not fixed. That's not fixed right now, but it's on pinpoint. We are going to ask you about this color, background color portion.
Oh, please don't make me, Austin, if he has that question, that would be upsetting because I
Yeah, we used the brand color. This was the brand, the main color we used. Let me check it again. Sorry.
Yeah, no, if you just reduce the opacity to like 10%, that would probably be fine.
Oh, okay.
Or like light gray or something like yeah. It's just it's a bit intense. Drew, if you were going to say.
It's a unpopular opinion, but the shadow inside, like, it doesn't fit the Layer5 scheme, right? I haven't seen any other component where the shadow is coming from inside. I know it gives a good effect, but I don't like it. Yeah. Personal opinion, I guess. I'm going with the theme of the Layer5 too. Like, from what I have scoped from the side, I haven't seen anywhere where we have used inner shadow for a component. So that seems a bit weird for me. Like, this is not the Layer5 which I'm used to seeing, where the shadows are like dispersed very nicely outside. So I don't know. I'm used to cards, I guess, in Layer5.
I captured the feedback from Drew accurately in the Slack. I've got to go. I'm tardy on a couple of things. You guys can continue. I'm going to hand off host. Chinmay, you're doing a darn fine job. I really appreciated how you jumped in very fast on the S&P site. Thanks for that. Very helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Plus, you just committed on what will hopefully be a CNCF project by next week. So I have to. So yeah. So you got in. You got in before the. Good. Anybody have anything else for this week? Other than sarcasm to hand back and forth. Husseina, we need to get a design spec going. There's instructions for how to generate a design spec from template inside the drive.
Yes, yes. Navindu has shared the templates with me. I'll start on it. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks a bunch, all. It's very nice to spend time with you. Whew. Catch you next week. Talk to you soon. Raja,
Thanks.
we'll
Thank you.
chat.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.